all praise in heaven and the earth. He is worthy, worthy of our praise and worthy of all glory. Hallelujah. Well, blessed be the name of the Lord. Welcome to this evening service, and it's a very special service. It's one of those services that truly would set off a spark in your life. It is one where we've come to learn how to navigate the waters of life, to be inspired, literally to be on fire. And that's our task here, and I know that the fire of the Holy Spirit is already in this place, and He is going to light us up. So just say to somebody, are you ready to be lit up? Are you ready to be on fire? Well, if you are, give Jesus a hand of praise and give Him a hand of gratitude this evening. Hallelujah. Thank you, Clement. Thank you, Judah. Thank you, every single one. And you may be seated in His presence. And I believe that I would take my seat also. So good evening to the Lighthouse, and for those who are joining us through the live stream, it's a joy to have you here this evening to this special event, which has been captioned Innovation, Creativity, and Work. One of the things that we all understand is work itself as a divine release from heaven to humanity, right from the beginning of the garden being an environment that needed the attention of man. God placed Adam in the garden and He gave him a prime assignment. He said, your responsibility is to till it, literally to walk the garden. And that means that that garden wasn't completed, it wasn't finished, but Adam had a finishing work to do. He had an assignment to perform there. And so here we are in this time, in this day, in a country that actually needs to be understood, in a country where many people are finding it challenging to navigate the waters, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, starting out in life and getting to put your hands upon the plow, so to speak, in order to be productive here on the face of the earth. And so it is for this purpose that we're here this evening to engage with minds that have dared to leave the shore, minds that have dared to venture out, minds that have dared to do something beyond themselves, to build things here on earth that will glorify our Father in heaven. And so it's a loaded day today, and we have a host of guests who I'm going to be inviting on the platform, and I'm going to be reading a brief profile about them, really, really brief, just to give you some insight into the minds that we're engaging this evening. The first person I'm going to be bringing has come all the way from Lagos by divine providence. When we contacted him, we had thought that we were going to have him by Zoom. And then he said, it's amazing how things work. I am going to be in Lagos. I'm sorry, to be in Abuja all the way from Lagos. So Adeolu Akinyemi's career and business exposure extends over multiple spheres, multiple countries, multiple organizations. He has received multiple awards and has been in this, entrepreneurship and development field for over 2 decades. He's a personal development trainer, a financial and business intelligence coach, a 10X consultant, human resources expert, blockchain enthusiast, entrepreneur, networker, nation builder, and a passionate disciple of Jesus Christ. He has interfaced with over 500,000 people in over 10 countries across 500 different organizations, ranging from SMEs to blue chip companies, NGOs, government agencies. He currently oversees Coach B and Stewards, a training outfit, as its principal consultant. Can we receive with a hand clap this evening, Adeolu Akinyemi? God bless you. You are welcome. The second person we're inviting is Seun Onokoya. He's a highly motivated individual that loves exploring new challenges, concepts, and ideas. He enjoys developing business models and is a Gallup Global Strengths coach, one whose goals is to help people create businesses that has a human dimension, generate employment, develop innate human capacity, and vast revenues. He has worked in corporate sales, project management, contract planning, business strategies, operations, documentation, planning, and procurement, and he possesses diverse relevant skills within the business life cycle. Can we welcome with a clap Mr. Seun Onokoya? The third person I'm bringing up to be gender sensitive is a young lady who functions as a communications specialist and who has been engaged in numerous high-profile projects. She's a social impact worker as a community developer. She's a climate reality leader, a co-founder of the Startup Knowledge Development Foundation for people with a focus on teenagers and business development. Can we welcome Akumishi Blessing Ayenaje? I'm sure you can do better than that. Our fourth guest this evening is a dynamic entrepreneur and an interior architect, one who is greatly celebrated and who has been instrumental in creating several celebrative invented designs, and she has an unwavering commitment to sustainability. She's a founder of numerous companies, Meiji Designs and Wooded Savannah, and she seamlessly blends her love for refined aesthetics with a profound dedication to advancing food security. Can we welcome Mimi Jika? And the last and not the least is a farmer, is a project management professional and the managing director of Farm Monitor Africa, an agri-technology firm focused on development and deployment of SaaS tools and strategies that provides real-time monitoring and de-risking solutions for farmers, farmer financiers, and agro-investors, using advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, space satellites, and drones. Can we welcome this evening Daniel Udeme Joseph? You're welcome. So here we have diverse professionals, and one of the things that excites me about the individuals here is that they are like Peter, who dared to step out of the boat. If you remember the story of that incident in scripture, Peter was the only one who had enough courage, who had enough faith, who was daring enough to step out of the boat. And outside of Jesus, within the context of scripture, there are only two people who have been recorded to have walked on water. One is Jesus himself, and the second is Peter. It takes a lot of courage to step out of the boat of our different experiences and our different endeavors, to dare to do something different, to dare to step up to the gallery and to make a difference in our lives. And so let's again appreciate this guest that we have today. And let's appreciate them for daring to step out of the boat. All right, so here we start, and I trust that we're going to be given an opportunity for questions to come somewhere in the course of our discourse. Our focus today is the present realities that we're faced with in this country. And we cannot overemphasize that we're living in a very challenging environment, difficult in every sense. Even the companies that seemingly have been known to have stood the test of time and to have developed themselves across the length and breadth of this country are finding it very difficult in order to survive and are having to look to deploy new strategies. Recently, Nestle posted a huge loss of around the region of 160 billion. And that's a huge company that has great track record within Nigeria. These realities are before us. So the question, and my beginning question, and I'll start with Mr. Deolu, how can individuals and businesses, especially within the context of the Christian faith, how do they begin to rethink in order to adapt to these challenging times so that they can thrive within the current economic reality?
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. So I'd like to start by saying that I think the starting point is, as people of faith, we need to have faith. We need to believe that God is sovereign. We need to believe that God has us, and He loves us too much to abandon us, and that He that has begun a good work in us will complete. Now, I feel if you already have fears, if you already have doubts, if you're already unsure who is in charge, then it leads you to all sorts of belief systems. But the first thing is to realize that no matter what is happening around, God is not caught unawares. He's not caught by surprise. He has a plan where this works out for good for you, for me. And so that's the starting point.
So we must have faith.
We need to have faith. And once that is clear, it's also realizing that God has designed life to be in cycles and seasons. And that if the time is rough, it shall pass.
So what's happening on the earth is not new.
It's not new. Okay? So the question is, how do I ensure that I'm still here when the seasons change?
That's the critical question here. How do you ensure that when the seasons change, you are still here? Thank you for that contribution. Let's go to Shola. So how are you ensuring? Let's look at it from a personal perspective. We've looked at faith, and that's fundamental. How are you ensuring that when this wind blows over, you're still here? Are there things you're doing? Are you having to rethink your business? Please let's know.
I think for me, personally, because I love to plan, I think it's not this season did not catch us unawares.
It didn't catch you unawares. You saw it coming.
Yes. So we knew things like this were going to happen. So we planned for it, and in planning for it, twofold. One, with the family, we planned. So I'll give you just basics of some of the things that we did. Early, I think sometimes in December, we knew that food prices were going to go up. So
was that by revelation or something?
Well, if you look at the trajectory of things, if you look at, so for example, the security issues. Now, security issues means that people who are farming can no longer go to farm. So once that was happening, So it was inevitable that we were going to get there.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so once you can read the trends, you know, you'll be able to look at, okay, like there's a likelihood that we're going to have food crisis. There's a likelihood that there will be shortages. So we began to stock up at that point, you know. So
as a family,
yes,
stock food.
Yeah, so that's on that side. Now, on the business side, we looked at it. Naira was already
on a free fall.
Yeah, on a free fall. So the next thing was, what should we do? Let's look at other countries where we could engage with them and also begin to see new opportunities. So we started processes in terms of, registering in other countries and things like that, and also getting opportunities from those places.
Okay, so you began to look outside Nigeria.
Exactly.
Obviously because of the challenge with the currency, and the bottom line is earn in foreign currency so that you can hedge yourself against the challenging times. Well, let's go to Akomishi. Akomishi, you work with startups. These are challenging times for strong companies. If Nestle, Nigerian breweries are going through their own challenges, how easy is it in a time like this for a startup to emerge?
Okay, hi, great. Good evening, church. Is it working? Okay. I'm so sorry, I'm showing my village side. I would love to say, first thing I would love to open with is that for startups, for individuals, there is money everywhere. The question is, who has your money? As an individual, you're already a solution to a problem. As a business owner, your business should make money. And how does it make money? By providing solution to someone else's problem. Now, you should be very intentional. We all should be very intentional about tying these solutions to the actual owners of the problem, right? In this context, I'll give you an example. I think of myself as a solution provider. I just keep preferring solutions to people's problems. I know how to get things done. And just a while ago, actually, I was broke, so broke I couldn't pay attention. I prayed to God and I go, look here, man, you know that I know how to do a lot of things. Send me an opportunity. I wasn't asking for money per se. I was not saying, oh God, send me X amount of money. Send me an opportunity to be a solution to someone's problem, who would pay, obviously, right? And the next day I got a call saying, oh, I'm going to be in Abuja for X period of time and I need somebody to be an assistant, sort of. And this was from a high-profile person, right? So he came into Abuja and we're able to put in the work. And in just a short period of time, I made so much money that, to be honest, I didn't really need all of that, right? So positioning for startups and for individuals alike, know that you are a solution to a problem, and know that there is money for you out there. So it helps you not narrow your mind to say, oh, this has to be done a certain way. You know, it opens you up to limitless possibilities for your businesses. You should open up a stream of value chains, you know, that would bring in money into your side of work. So yeah, that's essentially.
All right, Akomishi, I know you mentioned being intentional, and that's something that did strike me. The idea that every business must provide a solution to someone's problem. Now, it means you just can't wake up and say, I want to start a business. You've got to be clear about what you're providing, because there are people who just look for the next thing to start and may just hear that, oh, there's money here, and they go about starting it. So we've got to be very intentional about how we go about these things is what you're establishing here.
Can I just top off that?
Yes.
So I'll just tell you a really short story. I've got two sisters, elder, Joyce and Nancy. Joyce Cheshi, Nancy Ainaji. Sometime in 2013, there was a strike, so all of us were at home. And my dad comes back from work and he gives, he says, oh, he wants all of his kids to start businesses. He gives the first 70,000, the second 50,000, and me 50,000. the odds were already against me from then. It felt like I was set up to fail from that moment, right? And my elder sister, for some really bougie reason, she decided to start selling bedspreads. And I'm like, what? And then the second decided to do perfumes. I let it cook for a while. I took a stroll around, because we're living in the quarters then, the Polytechnic. And I saw that the only other drink that they would sell is Coke and Fanta. So I decided to start making Zobo and Kunwaya. And I kid you not, I made so much money just from that period. So it's literally understanding your environment and what it needs per time. You're not just diving into it and saying, oh, I want to just start up a business, for the sake of starting a business. No. What does your environment need in that moment? That should be the basis for you to start a business.
Thank you. All right, Mimi. Mimi is a serial entrepreneur and has shown a lot of courage in trying out a lot of things. Recently, you started a business, and you're starting a business in challenging times. What gave you the courage? I mean, what made you step out in spite of all the indices around to say, and maybe you can share some details about that business with us.
Good evening, church. So what made me start a new business in this time? I'll take off from what she said. It's about looking at your environment. So I noticed during COVID lockdown, food was the major thing everybody needed. Like at that point, you don't care about your Gucci bag or your shoes. Yeah, you can stay all day in your singlets and shorts. So, but what was key was food and then medication. So I'm an interior designer. I enjoy it, like the aesthetics. Like it's a fancy profession, you would say. But when it comes down to the reality of it, is that when push turns to shove, what is important is food. It's not the aesthetics. You need that when everything is fine, and if you notice now in Nigeria, a lot of people are cutting down on design, even budget for like finishing of houses. People, everybody's trying to invest in something. Yes. Yeah. So, but you see, food, you sell food everywhere. Like she said, you have to look at your environment. Yeah. So that's what made me one of the reasons. One of the reasons, yes. And then secondly, unfortunately, what's happening in our country and our currency, I had to look out. So last year I took a trip. I took a trip. My plan was to go through like a lot of countries in Europe and find like African stores, because Asians do eat we eat similar food even with Asians. So I thought of doing that, but luckily I found myself in Vienna, and I had a conversation with a Nigerian who operates a store, and he was like, if I bring anything, they are willing to take it, and most of the food they get there is adulterated somehow. Yeah, what we eat here is actually better, like our flour. So that encouraged me. I said, okay, there's an opportunity to end in foreign currency. It's very important now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mimi. And well, on this road, the last person was smiling is Daniel. And because when you mention food matters, that's a forte for him. So Daniel, coming to food, you are doing things differently. You call yourself a farmer, but I think I see more of you in incorporating tech into agriculture. So how relevant is what you're doing to these times? Did you just start up this new initiative just to provide solutions? Well, I mean, it's kind of interconnected. Are you seeing the naira, the dollar in what you're doing, and how do you think this helps Nigerians generally and helps you as an individual as well?
Okay. Good evening, church. Good evening, pastor, and thank you for having me. I love food. So, incidentally, my mom used to cook a restaurant, so I grew up around food. And interestingly, I used to also pass agricultural science very well. I think that's about the only course that I never had below a B or something. So, and then I now went tangented into something else. Then life now told me, no, go back to that one. So what we are doing is relevant. We are doing several things within technology and within agriculture. On Monday, 2 days ago, we just launched a module in our technology application for security, where you can press a panic button on the app and it should alert security areas or security formations around your area. So we are currently trying to now onboard the police so that when there are emergencies around, with a panic button, you can get some help. One would say, in our current situation, does that help? I say yes, it absolutely does. Identifying the challenges we are having in the agricultural space, especially security, identifying the challenges is number one, escalating it is number two, then actually solving that is the job of the police. We are not the police, but if somebody can at least escalate it on, identify and escalate it on time, that at least solves part of the problem. And those are the kind of things we are doing in the agri space, building technologies that that would bring some control, that would bring some order to the agricultural space. The agri space is very disorderly.
The agri space is disorderly. So you're trying to bring some sanity to it,
yes,
using
yes.
technology.
Yes.
All right, we'll still come back to you, but let me quickly ask, how easy was it for you to deploy this technology? I mean, from scratch. What does it cost you? And I'm not necessarily talking in Naira terms.
Okay.
Has it been easy?
I think the entrepreneurial journey is probably the most difficult journey. Maybe after pastoral journeys, it would be the entrepreneurial journey. Because hindsight, if I knew all I knew, I don't think I would go this path. Because it's really tough. So for instance, the solutions we have, you clearly go to places. I'll give you a classic instance. I went to a state. I don't want to mention the state because we are live. And the governor was interested in the solution, signed up that the commissioner should get it done. And the commissioner sat on it. One of the directors came and told me afterwards that, the commissioner said, if we do this, how we go take chop?
So the corruption issue.
You see that because of the environment we find ourselves, it's really, really difficult to really get things done. And I want to put it into it. I always have this discussion with my wife.
We'll come back to you.
Okay.
Let's establish. So you've spoken about the challenges, and we all know this is real. So that we can get to our participants all to make significant contributions. I'm back to Deolu. So what opportunities exist for people in this environment? I've had a few people who have come to meet me, for example, and they've said, Pastor, I have 5 million, Pastor, I have 10 million, Pastor, I have 15 million, and I don't know what to do with it. Are there opportunities? That's to start with. What can people do? There's a general expression that is a word I often don't like to use. It's called hustle, but we all know what it means. So what is it? What side hustles, if that will permit, what can people do in this time? Should they, if people have money, should they just keep it, in a bank, or what things can they do?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that question. I think it's a bit complex, so let me try and simplify it. It's a bit complex in my mind. I feel that opportunities are all around us. And I think it's a wrong thing to save for years and throw it all into an opportunity.
To save for years and throw it all into an opportunity.
So I feel people always ask this question. Somebody asked me last week, I have some millions. What can I do with it? And in my mind I'm thinking, do you want to lose your money? Because I feel the most secure basket is the one that you are guarding with your life. Any other basket, you don't know, you don't have control. You don't know what's likely to happen there. But if you know that this basket is in my front, I'm the one driving it, then you can also tell yourself that if I lose it, at least I will learn.
I'll be at peace with myself.
Yeah. So I think that for opportunities, the first thing is not that I have money. The first thing is I have identified something that I can solve. And I think you have a service mentality. If you have a service mindset to say, how can I help? Can I help?
So money is not really the starting point.
Money is not the starting point.
It's identifying that opportunity.
Yes. So I'll give an example. I've thrown away money before, so I have experience.
How you took the money and threw it in the dustbin?
I took the money and threw it as an opportunity. I thought it was an opportunity, and then I discovered that it was a PhD actually, because I was going to learn and I was not going to come back with any money, because I did not, So when we have, the Bible says a fool and
is that the definition of a PhD?
I'm saying that if you lose money and you learn, you're probably having a degree.
All right.
So you can get to professor. It depends on how fast you go. You can have multiple degrees. So I think the first thing is to identify opportunity. I've seen people grow from 10 naira to 10 billion. So
are you serious?
I'm serious. I'll give you examples. I've seen it in Nigeria. It takes time, and it takes mining the opportunity. So I'll give you a very funny example, and this is having a service mindset. So yesterday, I got to Abuja 2 days ago, and a friend of mine that I met mentioned different businesses he was doing, and then he mentioned one business he was doing that was Ram Suya, Balango.
Suya, Balango.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and he said something. He said, people, when you are doing this kind of small business, people look down at you. People don't respect, they don't give dignity to basic labor until you tell them that those 15 official cars, they're all selling Balango. So they want you to get to the zenith before they recognize you. But if you're smart, every opportunity has the small version and it can grow to the big version, like a baby and an adult. So I said to him, so he told me something very interesting I'd never heard before. He told me that he feels that the Balango is better if you have done everything and then you freeze it. That by the time you bring it out to do it, it actually tastes better.
Wow.
So I felt, really, are you sure? He said, yeah, that he's done it. That is better. So, and for me, the moment he said, okay, you do that, prepare it, freeze it, it means I can sell it in Lagos.
That's what came to your mind.
Yeah.
Because they can freeze it and send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. So I felt you can sell it in Lagos. So I said to him, he said, that it needs to be good volume. I said, guy, you can start small. I think, now it's not my business, but I'm looking at it and I'm saying, how can I help? So I said, you know what? Let me have some. Let me see if I can get 100 people to subscribe for this every Friday.
100 every Friday.
Every Friday.
And you deliver.
So our announced friends, Balango is coming to Lagos. Solid stuff. Very nice.
Frozen. Well cured.
Well cured. And the process of how you unfreeze it is, I'll define everything. 100. If I can get 100, I can start doing another day of the week. And then gradually we can play with this. I said, guy, it's a long journey, but we'll learn along the process. It's not my main work. I have what I'm doing, but I just felt I like Balango.
Well, somebody else here likes Balango, and is sitting on your right.
Okay. So in my mind, I'm thinking, we can, and guess what? And opportunities are around us like that. Just being able to recognize, okay, there's something here. The person I said turned 10 naira to 10 billion will tell me that he's in love with chicken. Chicken. So initially, he was consulting for people who are doing their farms. Why don't you do it this way? Do it this way. Do it this way. And after a while, he left his job prematurely. So some of us choose to leave our jobs. Some of us are chased out of our jobs. So he had that chased out of job scenario where he had planned. He wasn't planning long enough, but he had planned that maybe one day he will be his own boss, and then one day his boss comes to the office and says, "Today's your last day, and pack everything, you can go." And he looked at what he had in his hand. He said he had 10 naira in his hand. He didn't have any money in his account. He was spending everything. So he said that to get to his house was going to require 20 naira. So he walked 10 naira and spent the last 10 naira. And it was bad. It was December. So that December, he carefully moved his family away from him so that they can at least enjoy Christmas somewhere, and started thinking, what will I do? Now, I think one of the problems we have as well is we are too solo in our thinking. We're always thinking, how can I thrive? How can I survive?
Solo in our
In our
thinking.
thinking. So I feel that the highest level of maturity is interdependence. Is where I'm not thinking about myself alone, I'm thinking about others. So that person that has 15 million, that may be his only contribution into what we want to do together. And I may have the idea, if we see ourselves as we can collaborate and do things, then we can get a lot more done. So he found somebody who didn't go to school, but had insight into the same business, had interest in the same business. He didn't have money. That one had already done some things in the business. I had about 1,000 birds. He didn't have any money. So they collaborated together. 20 years down the line, the business was evaluated mid last year, at 30 billion naira.
Is that in the US?
No, in Osun State, it's poultry, it's chicken.
30 billion.
30 billion. They produce 7,000 crates daily of eggs. They have nursery, primary. So I call it nursery, primary. They have hatchery for day-old chicks. They have process to grow them to layers. They have
The
grandparent stocks,
full
chain. Yeah, and it's taking time, but it's grown gradually. No external investment. The maximum they've done is loan from banks, and they've paid back every time. So I'm saying opportunities are all around us. Are you going solo? Are you learning to collaborate? Are you seeing? Do you have a service mindset? Are you looking for how you can make things better for others? Your business, at the end of the day, may even so like this Balango business now. We're not talking about the nitty-gritty. I know he has rams. He's actually rearing rams. So he's rearing rams. He's interested in the business. He doesn't have markets, so he kind of like quits. I have markets. I can see markets. And I always see markets.
Interesting. you always see market. We're still, you need to show us how you see market. But let me ask you quickly. So, how much money have you lost? I mean, 100,000.
No, 100,000
naira.
No. So I have lost money. So I'll give you one scenario. There was one scenario where, and sometimes is you learn, you see the lessons. Yeah, you see the lessons. Somebody says fail is first attempt in learning. You see the lessons
First
after
attempt in learning.
Yeah. So I won't classify this as a okay. So if I want to say one time occurrence of loss. I once had a fire incident that took about 400 million naira worth of inventory.
Fire
incident.
And you lost 400
million naira worth of inventory, yeah, in the fire. It was April 1, 2017.
Wow.
It wasn't April Fool's Day, it was at night.
And you're still standing.
Yeah, so you move on from
that. That's awesome. Well, Sheon, your experience is different. I don't know whether it's balango or chicken. But you're widely traveled. What have you seen? And you've traveled around Africa. I know that you're constantly in Rwanda. Are you going to say that other countries have better opportunities than Nigeria? Do you think when it comes to opportunities, we're sitting on a gold mine and we're not doing enough with it?
I think when it comes to opportunities, I'll say one, there are a lot of opportunities locally, and also I think as Nigerians we are kind of too advanced for a couple of African countries, so that also means that there are opportunities in those places, because some of the things that we would do here, maybe it should take you 10 days. You can do it in one day in those places. So I would say that there are a lot of opportunities, for example, across East Africa. There are a lot of opportunities there, whether it's in tech, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's in basic service. Basic service. Some of the things that we take for granted here, they adore those things in those places. Also, when it comes to opportunities, I think one of the things we can do as individuals is to always look for that need around us. You know, when you enter into a place, so you can enter into a place and not see. You know, yeah, you are looking, but you are not seeing. So how you spot opportunities matters a lot. You know, when you come into a place, you need to open your eyes to see, because a lot of times opportunities pass us by.
Okay, how do we open our eyes to see? There's a spiritual dimension to that, and I know someone. There's a word that is generally known as deja vu. Deja vu means you see something that is in the natural, unfamiliar, but is familiar to you. So I've seen this before. Out of that, a new word has been created, vujade. Now, vujade is the flip of that. You see something familiar, but is unfamiliar. And what it means is you're able to see this bottle and you see what is not in the bottle. It may be the design, it may be the shape, it may be the cap. So bringing that to what you're saying, you know, spotting opportunities, does it mean we need to look critically, take a second look, take a third look, or do we pray, or is it a combination of both?
For me, I think it's a combination of both. First things first, Nigeria at the moment, so for example, we seem to be in crisis. And we seem to be in crisis. Now, what that simply means is that, like Deolu said, some people are looking for where to put the same money that others are looking for. So you have two sides of a coin. You've always said it, the best of times are the worst of times. So the question is, the people who have money and don't know what to do with it need a service. They're looking for something. Can you provide what they are looking for? Can you match them with businesses that they can possibly put those funds into? That's a service. So that's why I said you just don't look. You really need to see.
To see.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I'll need to jump the ladies and go to Daniel, because food seems to be, you know, from Balango, we're moving into, you know, all kinds of things. Food is very, very critical. Today we're seeing, and I've traveled, you know, some distance, especially across the globe. And every time I'm in a supermarket and I see food, I always stop to see the labels. I've never seen Nigerian yam in the UK. I can tell you I've never seen. I've seen Ghanaian yam. I've never seen Nigerian mangoes, and Benue State is a mango belt. I've seen Ghanaian mangoes. I've not even heard of shea butter from Nigeria. I've seen Ghanaian shea butter. And so what happens is that because of the construct of our country, people will take our products to Ghana and they will package it and ship it to Europe. So we are losing out a lot, and they will brand it. It's Nigerian yam, it's from Benue, it's from Niger, it's from other parts, but it has produce of Ghana. Now, why are we missing out on this? I mean, what can we do? And then when I'm done with you, I'll come to Mimi, and then we'll come to our commission.
Okay, so let me start by not totally agreeing to what Shehu and Oga said, because that forms the basis of what I'm going to answer. I think that the people that have money in the country hoard the money.
The people that have money
in this country hoard the money.
hoard the money.
Hoard the money. Because of our slavery mentality and our whatever mentality you want to call it, we are, as a people, not pro-business. So even when there are valid ideas, you have people that you are talking with, they have the money and they won't give it to you. So I actually beg to differ. I don't
Okay, so
totally,
you are different. That
Yeah,
people
yeah.
have money and they won't give. Are you
and that's because they are protecting their territory. They are trying to ensure that what I have can take me at least till I die, so to speak.
Are you speaking from an experiential perspective? Your experience.
Yes, and yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes and yes, because
we will give them the opportunity to respond. So
Okay,
let's go back to this.
yeah. So why I said that is because if we really had people that were releasing money for investments, there are so many things we can build and do around agriculture. The principal thing being that we are not processing quite literally anything. So why you are seeing those things abroad not having Nigerian labels is because if a Ghanaian company comes here and processes that thing, they are going to put their own label. They are not going to put the Nigerian label, even though the raw material is from Nigeria. And that's another issue altogether, traceability in agriculture, which is part of the things we are building technology for, so that we can trace our produce from the farms. Now, because we are not investing in processing, and the other question will be, why would we even invest in processing when we are losing most of what we do from the farm, which is counterintuitive, which is actually what we should be doing, putting a lot of money in the produce that is coming from the farm so that we can have those things out in the field. You've talked about, or you've asked questions about the idea, seeing opportunities. It's just innovation. So take the mango. What can I do with this mango that can make it last longer? If you go into research, the real challenge being anyway that innovation and finding opportunity and doing these things actually takes a lot of courage, which is what this panel is really about.
We
you know, and it's difficult to live in Nigeria and you are looking for food to eat. You know, so
you're saying the system itself.
The system, that's why I kept saying the environment. So
problem.
you are looking for food to eat. The kind of challenges we face as entrepreneurs in Nigeria are not faced outside the country. If we struggle half of the struggle we struggle in Nigeria outside the country, where the environment, the ease of doing business is okay, you would make much more. It will be encouraging.
Okay. Well, let's go to Mimi, because Mimi may beg to differ. Mimi is trying to export food and produce out of Nigeria. So, Mimi, what's your take on what Daniel has said, and based on your own experience as well?
When it comes, you're right when you said...
You can move the microphone closer.
Okay. Yeah, about other countries taking our produce and rebranding it. It's so common, because I've attended a lot of conferences organized by NEPC, that's the non-oil exports of Nigeria. And I think the major issue is our government, and we are helpless in that situation. Really, there's literally nothing you as a person can do about it, because you can try, do anything you want. By the time you ship these things to another country, it will be wasted. A whole container of what you exported can be thrown out by their government. So it's really the government that has to liaise with this other government, the other government of the country. So that's the major issue. And when you talk about Ghana, there's a lot their government is doing to encourage export from their country. There's a lot, you know. And again, when you attend these conferences and, hey, this is the government, NEPC is the government for me when I attend, and you hear them sound so helpless. You hear them complaining about custom, you hear them complaining about, I'm like, it's the same government. So it's like everybody is working. There are so many organizations. When it comes to dealing with exports in Nigeria, there are so many government bodies you have to deal with, and they are all working separate.
Contrary to what.
So if I hear, for example, NEPC complaining about maybe customer, I'm like, you're the same body.
Well, that's useful. Akumishi, what contributions do you have to make with this, especially respect to opportunities? So back to the question which they've tried to answer. So I have 10 million naira. What can I do with it? Okay, I have 200,000 naira, and I want returns. What should I do?
I would say, just as Mr. Diolu said, guard your bag yourself. You cannot go and throw money into somewhere, and to be honest, this is me being completely honest, because I've tried it before as well. I have given money out to say, hey, and it wasn't so much, right? And I go, we literally had an agreement to say I was going to get X amount as returns, but it did not return. And I was furious for, the initial part, but at the end, it's like, you said, now you cost them.
You got a PhD.
Yeah, I did. I got a mini PhD because it wasn't a lot of money. But, and also, just as he said, opportunities are everywhere. Look around you. It is everywhere. There is something that you can do. I get 200,000 naira now. I could start a car washing business. I could decide to do, because food is literally the topic of conversation for everybody.
But there are car washes everywhere. So what do I do to make mine
I
stand
could have a car wash that has a PS5 thingy going on there. I have a television at home. I'm outside. I'm not using it at the moment. I will ship it to that place, have a stand. If I have to rent a PS5, I will. People come wash their cars. Literally build a value chain around whatever it is you're doing. So I'm not just coming here to wash my car. I could play games. I could play pool.
You can have a suya spot.
You can have a suya spot and reach out to Mr. Deolu's friend to deliver, all of that. And people would come there because it's like when I come here, I'm not just waiting and pressing my phone, waiting for my car to be washed. There are so many things that I could do, in that process. And I really subscribe a lot to collaborations, partnerships. Even in the Bible, it is written in the book of Habakkuk. Write the vision, make it plain, so whoever reads it can run with it.
That's
so
your business plan.
And it also means that you are not, I feel like we're not supposed to do business as individuals, so that whoever reads it can run with it. That's a
big one. We're not supposed to do business as individuals.
Yeah. Because if one can chase 1,000, two can do 10,000. I'm sorry, my
10,000.
Okay, that's right. Because my pastor side is not coming out. But then I'm sure you get the point, right? I'm sure you get the point. Collaborate as much as you can. When you're collaborating, don't just give money and go sit back.
But you see, again, when you collaborate, you then lose 100% holding of that company, and it feels good to say I'm the chairman, CEO. I own 100%.
Oh no, chairman, we no get money, no be chairman. No. You have to have
Chairman costs 70K.
Chairman did what?
It costs 70K to be a chairman.
To be a chairman, 70,000 naira.
Yes. Register the company. Chairman.
All right, so if you want to be a chairman, 70,000 naira. And I'm sure we have lawyers in the house who can help you with your registration process. So let's come back to you, because
so I wanted to respond to something. I think the idea of seeing can be nature and it can be nurture. So some people are naturally wired to be restless and to be looking for the next opportunity. Some people are more focused and let me do what I'm doing. So I think it can be trained. I think some people have it. I think people that have it may find themselves doing things that will end up looking like it's not business if they're also not trained. So I think there's a training component of being able to open your eyes. And that's why I think, you can research, you can study, you can do all of that. I also wanted to comment about the yam issue. I always feel helpless once we move an issue into the hand of government. Then we have lost control. And as an entrepreneur, you need control. You need some level of control. So I realized that one of the problems, because I went for a conference as well, and what I picked from that conference on yam was that we are not producing yam in Nigeria for exports. So
we're not producing it for export. So what are we doing for consumption?
For consumption. Because yam can get spoiled if it's not or if I don't understand what they need before I plant. There are different kinds of yam, there are different kinds of cassava, there are different things I can do before I even package it for shipping. Now, I think that's what I was sharing, was saying, look, it will change. Nigeria will change in the next 4 years, things will happen differently because we now understand where the issues are. I feel if I'm cooking the food I want to eat, it's different from if I'm serving as a restaurant. Yeah? It's different. There's a guy, there's a very young chap, well, not a very young chap, he's in his 30s, in Ilorin, who is doing something very, very exciting to me. He's selling food. He started with, he didn't have money, so he went to borrow a bag of rice. That was 9 years ago. Now he has 13 branches.
Wow.
And he says he makes a profit of 20 million naira daily.
A profit or turnover?
Profit.
20 million every day.
Daily. Now, what's going on there is...
Are we in the wrong business then?
he's not selling the regular recipe in a restaurant. He's selling rice and chicken. And his vision, the way he expressed it, he says, no, I think the profit is 5 million. Turnover is 20 million.
Okay,
is
5 million. That's still significant.
Yeah.
A day.
A day. And he says that he is cooking rice. His vision is, if you want to have a wedding, don't cook. Come here 10 minutes before your wedding and ask for 500 prepackaged rice and we'll supply it to you. So he doesn't have any